believe video game addiction can be just as bad or worse than other addictions like gambling and drugs?
I don't think it'll have like the same consequence as like doing heroin, but you know, if you're addicted to video games, you're not going to see your friends or family or neglect your own health, and it's just not going to be good overall. Even though you may be social, talking to your friends online, I don't think you may, like I said, neglecting maybe housework or anything that needs to be done, any errands. So, yeah, I think it can be as harmful.
What would you consider players would be more addicted to? Mobile games on phones, like with screen addiction, you know, phones and tablets, you know, what that nonsense?
Yeah.
Or consoles and like PC games?
That's a hard one, I think. I think it's both, but mobile gaming, like anyone can play it, but it seems to be a lot more tender to kids, especially now with like moms buying like, little kids iPads, and they're always like playing around, and they can see they can buy microtransactions to their games. It could be more addictive for them, and it's like it's a weird change in like society now, how we're just giving kids like tablets to play with to distract them.
How much time do you see yourself playing video games on your downtime?
Probably about 2 hours when I'm down. So like 2 hours a day, pretty much, between homework and stuff like that, extracurriculars.
Second question, what aspects of games do you think people could get addicted to?
You get a reward as soon as you do something. You know the task you have to do. It's not something you have to figure out. And a lot of people, you can do work in real life and not get rewarded for it. In a game you do, and then you have the fact that you can get do-overs in video games. You can't get a do-over in real life. Once you do something, that's it. People aren't going to forget it.
Do you believe video game addiction can be just as bad or worse than the other addictions out there, like gambling and drugs?
I mean, not to the extent of in terms of like the risk to life and safety, life and death, stuff like that. But there definitely is the risk of like losing those connections to people because you're so attached to the video game. It's like a part of who you are. It becomes your personality. You just can't connect with other people. But it's definitely not as dangerous as drugs or gambling or anything like that.
If video games were illegal, would you still play them?
Yeah, I mean, I try. You see what's happening in China. They can kind of sort of just, boop, internet's off. You don't get to play anything. But I'd still try and play probably something offline. But yeah.
How much time do you see yourself playing video games on your downtime?
On my downtime, it varies from week to week. Usually I try to wait till later in the week or on the weekend. If I have a big project to do later in the week, then I try to refrain from doing any gaming whatsoever. But usually if I have nothing going on that week, I'll maybe a couple hours every other day at least.
Next question. Do you believe video game addiction can be just as bad or worse than other addictions like gambling or doing drugs?
I don't know if there's been enough, like for me, like the thing is like, does the research back it? Like, as video game addiction was just recently made a thing, and like gambling addiction is like one of the worst addictions because the casinos and tailor everything so that people become addicted to gambling. And I guess some video games can have similarities to that, but I don't know, who's to say in the future? Maybe it could become worse, especially with like things like VR, where the line between video game and reality becomes further blurred. So I would say maybe in the future more likely, but now I don't think it's as bad, but it can still be potentially harmful.
If video games were to become obsolete one day in the world, what would you do other than play video games?
If video games were to become obsolete one day, I'd say, I mean, I'm big into comics and movies, so I have that too, and I'm also into sports, you know. I like to watch, you know, baseball, football, you know, so I still have other interests that I'm into. It's not like I let video games be my primary interests that control my life, you know. So
if video games were to become illegal, would you still play them?
I like playing video games, but furthermore, I think it's like video games are like an extension of freedom of speech, and I don't think that's something that you can really limit because it's freedom to represent, speak in media. So, you know, I just think with like my views, I would just think it would be total bullcrap if they did outlaw them. So I would just be like, I'm gonna play them regardless. What do you think about that?